Hello YouTube and welcome back to the channel here today. Today we're going to be watching the finale, the last two episodes of the Apothecary Diaries Season 2. Very excited to see how this thing ends up. What the hell ends up happening? Let's go. Just setting the scene a little bit, it's just gone 10 p.m, so I don't know. Again, I've got a free house, so I thought I might as well use it and not record tomorrow morning. Might as well just record tonight. I don't know, we'll see how it goes. I don't normally record these things at night. Generally, I'm a little bit more of an early bird than a night owl, but I don't know, shit happens. I'm sure I can manage. And yeah, we'll split it up. I'll come back tomorrow morning, have a few more direct thoughts there about the season itself, that kind of thing. We'll see. I've also got two pimples that are annoying the hell out of me. I don't know if you can see them, but what am I, a teenager? This pissed me off. Anyway. First comment here from Highly Calm of the two we have here today from the YouTube comments from my patrons. Very much thank you, if that's how you speak English, for supporting the series and the channel and stuff all the way through to episode 23 and 24. It's very cool. Thank you very much. And yes, the comment from Highly Calm. The direction and pacing choices this season were definitely weird towards the end. I'm happy I'm not alone on this. Again, definitely upon editing and kind of reviewing, especially episode 22 last week, I was like, that's not fitting, right? Just the tension of that scene where kind of Shisui's trying to turn on Shenmei and trying to free Sure and do all that kind of stuff. It just didn't feel right. It felt off. That, as well as the whole question mark thing I had about the timing of the explosion versus Shisui getting there, and that, I don't know, it could have been a lot better, I feel. I don't know, it's probably the worst kind of little bit, worst minute portion of this season thus far, I'd almost say, right? Some of the early stuff was kind of how you going too, but again, ultimately I still came away pretty positive. I think the overall material there is pretty strong. So this is pretty interesting as well, because we have the manga that a lot of season 1 was based off of, the manga adaptation of the light novel, actually adapting this stuff that we're watching right now from the light novel right now as well. So we're kind of getting two adaptations of the same part of the story, one through manga, one through anime, and the anime pulling a lot from the manga earlier in its run. So again, that's fascinating to me. It's like, what's the split? What's the difference here? It's actually a really interesting case study, and probably I should pick up the manga at some point, probably. We'll see. I'm happy that I feel like sometimes, I don't know, us as an anime manga collective, I don't know, fiction enjoyers, we sometimes get trapped into thinking that the problems are only because of the adaptation, that potentially those problems were originally there in the original text. And I don't know, I feel like a lot of people think that the original text is sacred in all of this and couldn't be wrong, and you have to abide by it exactly, and that's the reason why you failed. And it's like, no, that's not how adaptation works. And again, I don't think, if it's structured the same way it's structured here, with, I would say, again, the bombardment of reveals, then I'm not sure that's great in novel form either, albeit you can dictate pace a little bit better when you're reading by yourself. Other than that, I agree that the Shisui Mao Mao doomed Yuri scene was very well done. That's an interesting turn of phrase. Again, I saw the vibes a little bit more last week. I'll give you that. Again, it's broadly disappointing, but I'm not holding any grudges against season 2 of Apothecary Diaries. It's doing so much right, I think. But again, a lot is predicated on this next session that we're watching, so again, we'll see. Kelvin, last comment here, and probably something that I need to clarify as well. This stuff. Yeah, I mean, I understand it. I understand that nobody's supposed to know. But, okay, we use the example here of Clark Kent. Now, Clark Kent is Superman. I don't want to, blow anybody's kind of mind there. When he takes off those glasses, he becomes Superman. He dons the cape. And it's kind of this great, really campy, kind of really comic booky, reveal. And it really works for that piece of fiction, especially Superman. I don't think you could get away with something like that, something that silly, especially in modern adaptations of something like Batman, right? You just wouldn't get away with it, right? Now, again, Batman's kind of a detective thing, right? This is kind of a detective show. It's a mystery show. It's a mystery show where Mao Mao can put together people's identities like that, right? So, like, it becomes It becomes shocking to me that she hasn't put this together. It becomes shocking to me that many other smart characters in the show haven't put it together either. That nobody chooses to question the eunuch status, that nobody chooses to question any of these things. He's the same size, shape, blah, 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 blah. I don't know, it feels really off. I liked it early as it's gone on and as we've gone into 2 seasons of content where finally now it seems like it's out in the open for at least Mao Mao and a few other characters, Lee Haku and the like. That seems too long. That's a criticism there, I would say. And then that's not even including all the other stuff that I think's going on with the baby swapping and all that. The big secret. The very, very few people know. Maybe not even Jinchi. I don't know. It's freaking me out. It's weird. Again, I feel like they could have handled a lot of that stuff a little bit better. The Jinchi side of things is... There's some good stuff there. I think some stuff's kind of lame. I don't know. It's just my 2 cents. But you're right here as well. It's also a plot convenience so we can have Jinchi move around. Because otherwise, again, people would just know he's royalty and he couldn't do nothing. And I get it. It's just funny, I think. That's probably my 2 cents on it. Anyway, we'll leave that there. And we'll pop over to the Patreon, of course. I don't know, it's kind of a weird one to sell at the moment considering this is the last episode of Apothecary Diaries, but thank you to all the people that supported. I appreciate it. There will be a poll upcoming. You'll get double votes on said poll because of your support. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And again, if you want Land of the Lustrous 1 week early, if you want Sayonara Zetsubou Sensei 1 week early, it is still there and available for you. Many people have done this, up to and including Mickey Babbers, AF, AJ, Bananarama Hamadama-sama, Capella, Choba Ribby, Copley, Dapper Dwarf, Ed, Fancy Question Mark, Fleur Nightingale, Fruit, Gloriana Tenebrae, Glyke, Greybeard, Guanal, Gus N, Hans Peter, I'm Mildly Anxious, Ika, Iwayuru, Yanko Yavanen, Jami Boo, Joran, Kasogtha, Kelvin, Clem, Nosta, Kot Begemot, Lick H, Lou, Marco-san, Miru, Mistake El Chen, Molly Weinberger, Mr. Maniacs, Aussie, Parnik, Pencil Shop 333, Ronblade B&K, St. Lily, Sam1373, Skeleton, Tentacle Member, Waifu Overdose, Without a Net, Akomancer, Binshi, Voodoo Chili, Aidan O'Brien, and Zach. Thank you to everybody for giving me money. I enjoy the money, and I thought maybe it'd be wise to get this up again. Just as kind of our setup. I feel like we're about to go into Shenmei backstory stuff. Wait, that's probably a better one. Shenmei. She's up next. We're going to figure out what the hell went on in the Rear Palace. Apparently she didn't used to be so bad. She got twisted and manipulated in the Rear Palace. Clearly she's got an inferiority complex, for myriad reasons. I've personally attached that into age as well. The whole immortality potion idea. I feel like she feels scorned by the late emperor and the royal family in general by her time in the Rear Palace and wants to enact some kind of revenge whereby we're going to... It's a batshit plan. We're going to try to take everybody else out and put Lao Lan center stage. And I'm going to be like the new Empress Mother, kind of pulling strings from the background, kind of pseudo in charge. Put my doll right there. Again, it was a crazy plan. We're going to get more context as to the why here. Shisho himself is going to step up and have a little bit more of a role there. Notably, the episode is called The She Clan, which I saw when I downloaded it and kind of got reminded of that, so one to watch. Again, hopefully, it depends on the tone of these 2 episodes. I feel like this really centered conversation quite well last week, so I want to do something like this again tomorrow morning when I kind of come back through on the episodes. Again, we'll see. Time permitting, of course. But yeah, without any further ado, let's just get episode 23 up and see what the hell happens. Let's go. Hello, I am very white. Hello. 24 minutes of this one, episode 23 up there, ready to go, of course. Picture-in-picture in the description below. I have the Crunchyroll version. You can sync up with your own version, or again, click on that link below. It's up to you. Let's give this thing a 3, 2, 1. Radio, 3, 2, 1, go. I forgot that I had a little hot chocolate here too, that I need to be digging into, because it's quite warm. I always do enjoy coming back around on the openings once you've seen a lot of the stuff in the arc. Like, this is all making a lot of sense now. Still a few question marks, of course, symbolism-wise, but again, a lot of it's a little bit more clear to me, which is nice. I almost did the school teacher there and kind of left the mouse on the little part and left the kind of VLC menu on screen. They're terrible for that. Just move the mouse. Come on. At least they were when I went to school. Maybe they're better now, considering the teachers are around my age now, which is scary. Anyway. Oh yeah, remember Lacan? He did his back. Oh yeah, the kids. I'm pretty sure them kids are fine. Yeah. Resurrection potion. Shout out to the kids. Okay, dog whistle. Found Mau Mau. Correct. Bussin's here. Oh yeah, Shisho was moving crazy. I saw this in the preview. Yeah. Get him, Jinshi. Fuck him up. Explain yourself. Well, I didn't. Okay, time to take responsibility, big boy. It's a cool shot. I like the movement. I will shoot you in the head. Oh, he's cool. Yo! Jinshi! We love the latest model. Why are you moving like a Bond villain? What's happening? Feels very performative at the moment. Yeah. Exactly, that's why. Okay. Later, Shisho. I get the feeling he's taking the bullet here for his beloved once again. At least that's what the framing's telling me. We'll probably wrap back around here once we learn more, and that'll become a little bit more charged. He loved it. Yo. Shisho. The spotlight's crazy. Yeah, exactly, yeah. I'm happy I got that vibe. He played his role to the very end. But where's Shenmei? Okay. So, Shisho, what did that do? What did your little performance do? I thought it was like a I'll distract them and they'll get out of here type idea, maybe, but... And maybe it still is. It's yet to be seen. Cooked ya. Grab a face again. Wait. I'll shoot you in the head. So I got a gun pointed at you. Come on. Okay, hello. Correct. I mean, the family situation's crazy. What? Oh, yeah, because he looks like the late Emperor. Nah, cooker. Fucker. Oh, are you going to be the narrator? Remind you of anybody? And that's that shot from Shisho before. The voice is crazy. It's throwing me off. She was so nice before. What happened? Okay. Okay. Oh. Explain. Okay. Oh. How do you know all this, Lelan? Oh. This is all very convoluted. What a great idea, Shisho. Shisho. Run away with me. Oh, it was his path. That's some cool lore. I don't give a shit. Yeah, in for a penny. And knowing you from the future, you don't care about serious crimes. But then what? Interesting. Damn. Should have ran away then. No, you were just. I mean, based on the framing, you were just jealous or something. Yeah. I thought we established last week that Shenmei knew this. You'd outgrown your usefulness almost. Kind of funny. Now I'll have to rewatch my stuff from last week, but I'm pretty sure we implied that she knew that. But anyway, it was stuff about the royal blood. Can somebody like hit her or something? Like, all the Tanukis I know. Ugh. Ow. You're very calm. What, did it backfire? I don't remember the setup about it backfiring. Why did it backfire? Did you set it up to backfire? Yeah, okay. Nah, too hard. I mean, she's actually probably got out pretty well. There would have been a lot more torture if it was me. Go on then. But what does it say? Things that could happen to this nation from now on. Interesting. Ow. That's a poetic scene, I'll say. Does she sharpen those things, or? I mean, this doesn't bode well. Say what you want about this show, they're always dancing in the moonlight. I thought she was going to start singing. I thought the music there was diegetic for but a moment. Quick, she's dancing, shoot her. I mean, she low-key kind of won. In some ways. No, she's still going. What a trooper. What happens to Sure now? And Mama's just getting rescued at this time. A once-in-a-generation evil. Oh, breaking it down. Yeah, it's very interesting framing there, sure. Whatever you say. Suda, get out of there. They're going to shoot you too. Yeah, I'm pretty sure she's dead. I'm gonna be honest with you, Jinshi. I was about to say we're about at the ED. The girl. Well, the Khan's probably there or something, right? Oh, yep, the kids. I remember the kids. Nah, she's doing a job. What an old man. Alright, don't be weird. Just touching you sleep. As you do. Still got the freckles on. Commitment to the bit. Uh-huh. What? What are you talking about? This isn't next time on. I saw all that stuff already. I saw all of that. I remember. Alright, remember how I said that I'm gonna need to come back around to an episode and kind of wait to figure it all out? That's kind of what I meant. But either way, moving swiftly onwards to episode 24. And rightio, episode 24, the last episode of season 2, up there ready to go. 23 minutes and 43 seconds on this one. Sync up accordingly with your own copy. Same stuff as always, Crunchyroll, all that other kind of stuff. Let's go. Let's give it a 3, 2, 1. Rightio. 3, 2, 1, go. Opening, as always. Just got a full hot chocolate here too. Wasn't really drinking much during during episode 23, the first episode here today. So I'm with you for most of it. The part where it turned and it like there was actual some double crossing going on and something expanding the rear palace, and this is actually outing everybody. That was the idea the entire time or something. That's going over my head a little bit. I didn't see that coming at all. Like there was some secret ploy by both Shisho and Lao Lan behind everything or something. That's, I don't know, too dumb. I wasn't smart enough for that, sure. Also, again, a little bit disappointed in the part of... I thought I would walk away from that episode understanding Shenmei a little bit more. I just think she's just a downright cunt. I thought that she would be a sympathetic cunt, but doesn't even really have that going for her at the moment. Yeah, she's just kind of stupid and bad and evil. I don't know about all that. Anyway, what do we mean by the beginning? That's another intriguing one, I feel. Yeah, Yeah, what did old mate find in the snow? That'd be an interesting one too. The beginning. Yeah, what are we doing? What did he see? Why is he all worried and stuff? He got cut by your mate. It's a flesh wound. Don't touch him too much now. He'll get off on that. The frog will start doing whatever. Yeah, pretty shoddy job on the stitching. Who did that? Is he always going to have a cool scar now, too? I already thought about that. Oh, a little hand touch there. I like that. Let me do it properly. She's like mom. I don't call her by that name. I wasn't friends with Lao Lan. Yeah, how are we going to break the news to Xiaolan? Oh no. Not my little friend. Yeah, she certainly is enigmatic. Let's say that. An unsolvable mystery for Mao Mao. Me too, guys. I'm going to try to understand it here. Probably tomorrow morning. Yeah, save them damn kids. Remember to spare the people that have died once. Come on now. I'm paying attention. No. You're royalty. You're not allowed to be in here. Oh! Starts with a C and ends with on scent. Okay. I got told to. It's my job. He remembers everything about you. You could just tell him the truth. I thought that was maybe the soot or something. Oh. I see. Okay, that's really funny now. Okay. Yeah, you're super giga royalty. What? I don't think so. Well, they build character. He's kind of like a pissy little kid, too. That's a little bit more of his vibe. But in like a fun way. Manly? What happened? Did he just... Yeah. No, not in front of the kids. Lacan! Save me! Basen! Lahan? Lahaku! Alright, run away. Alright, the kids are back. She's pretty strong. She's ripping that shit up. Who the hell are you? Who's this little freak? Mama, you didn't know? Mama didn't know. Shisui before, she assured their safety through legalese. A legally binding contract. Yeah, this. Do your job. Burn it be gone. Fuck out of here. Say please. Chinchi, your manners. Oh yeah, they're all coming through. I was worried about the rest of the lads. Sure's in no state. She's probably mourning or... I don't know, there's probably a lot of things happening there. Yeah. Not the time. Fuck off. They need a day off to do all this flirting shit. Wait, so everybody was blindsided? I thought that this was half of everybody's plan. Oh well. I guess I'm smart. I don't know. And again, I said it in the episode. I'm like, that's a tonal read. This isn't the kind of show to kill a bunch of kids. It just isn't. At least not yet. Things can change. Now, I haven't seen you guys in ages. That's nice. Oh, that's nice. Little boy. Gyokyo's in good health then, too. That's nice. We were worried there for a minute. Oh, okay. He's just chilling. Yeah, sure. He's He's doing his obligations. That's okay. Oh, you're here. How about the hands? Are they all... Well, it was kind of pressing. We just needed to try whatever we could. He lost his memory? He still came back to life. That's pretty good. Oh. Sure. That's random as hell. Fine. Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. What a complicated family you have, Arduo. Alright, so he's just gonna chill here? What a nuisance. At a brothel, no less. Cho? Whatever you say. Would you give him a little rock or something? What's that? Oh, hello. What are you doing here? What's this, Yeah, okay. Oh, she probably wrote it, too. That's very sweet. She's not the best worker. Go say hi. She's my good friend. I may need to be caught up in this whole why is Mao Mao not in the rear palace type thing. I guess circumstances change with Gyokyo, which changes things, maybe. That's cute, okay. Mm-hmm. There you have something lined up. Sure. An occupation, a job. I don't like your chances with Shisui. Not the ice cream, man. Smell tearing up, maybe. Yeah, that's nice. My friend. It's a golden rule, isn't it, Chad? If we don't see the corpse. There was that random scene at the end of the episode, right? What was that about? Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting close. What? Oh. Hello. That's not Jinshi. What, money? There's some nasty scar. Well, somebody did. They're a lot more neat. Yeah, that's awesome. No, don't get me started about the paper industry. What's the promise? That's funny. Somebody's got it. I gave it to my good friend Shisui. We'll see. Well, I mean, it's kind of... Yeah, it kind of got confirmed. How about the I like you part? That one's harder to say. Now, there is something. What? 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 Ew. What is he, a vampire? She's so not into it. Ugh. Ugh. Really? Yo. No. I'm admiring his wound more than anything else. Anyone gonna walk in this time, or every time? I was gonna say Mei Mei or somebody. Sick lizard, dude. Awesome. Oh, fucking... Dude. I ate brown sugar by the fucking teaspoon. I love that shit. Jinshi needs some lessons as it pertains to consent. But other than that, I think he's pretty chill. The beginning, they reckon. See, he's always moving different. Get out of here. Get your nose out of there. I'm at my job. I'm trying to work. Get out of here. It's a little bit. Time for a little something something at the end? Maybe it'll just be that another season is confirmed, that kind of thing. Hang on. A ship? A port? Far, far away? Jewelry? Oh, somebody who knows something of bugs. The Jade Pavilion. Oh, yeah, let it flow. Alright. She made it out. Alright, I mean, I would wash my hands of the whole affair, man. Tamamo. Alright. Yeah, she made it out. I know. You guys don't need to show me the eyes anymore. I'm aware. It's the classic rule. If I don't see a corpse, they ain't dead. That's the way this thing goes. Needless to say, I'm confused again. I mean, less so about that episode and more so just about the mechanics of her being alive. But anyway, I guess she just got saved. It was the shine of the hair stick, maybe. It was kind of shining in the bush there. That's probably a take. Mostly I just need to break down whatever the hell she did with Shisho to fuck over Shenmei, which is confusing me. But the rest of it's flowing pretty nicely. I don't know. Jinshi's a bit handsy, but he's always kind of been, so that's fine. And it's about 11 o'clock now, so it's it's time for me to go to bed. Yeah, I'll return tomorrow morning. Kind of a weird, almost anticlimactic ending to the season. I don't really see the jumping off points for more content. Really. I mean, other than the will they, won't they, Mao Mao Jinshi thing, but again, maybe that'll encompass a little bit more of a conversation again tomorrow about what the future may hold. Yeah, good. I'm still holding caution and some trepidation for me actually understanding things and coming back through and thinking about it some more. But, I mean, it was watchable, it was good. Tomorrow, I'll see you then. I'm saying goodbye for now. I'll see you in a mere second. And we're back. It's the next day. I've written a few notes here, at least my understanding of what has happened in the 2-episode chunk, mostly centering around episode 23. And we're going to break it down here before going through the episodes one last time. Again, much like last week, hopefully this cuts down on me just reading dialogue again and that kind of thing. I've kind of rewatched the episode. I still didn't really understand what was going on. I then went trolling various websites, Reddit and ANN and the like, just reading other opinions, reading what other people think is happening. I feel like there's a little bit of a disconnect between that audience and me. That audience is very much read the source material and know what to expect, and most of their conversation is centering around the adaptation and how it is being adapted rather than the just, nuts and bolts of what's actually happening. I guess all this is to say it took me a long time to write this, where I didn't think it would take me a long time to write this, and even then I still could be wrong, and I think we could probably spin that off into some criticisms of the episode, kind of jumping off of last week, where the pacing just kind of feels off. It's all kind of centered in one room again, which I didn't really like. And again, even that's taking away part of, I really wanted redemption for Shenmei. We decided not to do that. She was kind of, she was kind of evil, and that was just kind of it. And I was like, again, she's an interesting kind of evil. There is some hesitation there, but she's still just kind of evil. I don't know. It's probably the first, straight up just evil character we've had in the show. Even then, caveats, society, forced into position, blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? But she didn't really do anything redemptive with that either. She was pretty despicable. I don't know. So we kind of went away from that direction, which I thought we were going to go, and set it on something else, which I didn't even think was a factor. And then kind of Shisui came out there and danced and then jumped off the thing and died. she didn't, but you know what I mean. Again, the Shisui dying part, that's really cool, and the dance and I read a wonderful article in ANN about their interpretation there, and I really liked it. Kind of the significance of the different dancing scenes in the show, and how this one's kind of the culmination of it. But anyway, I'll break that down a little bit more when we get to it. Let's try to focus up on the actual reveals. So, these couple sentences to begin with were the thing that unlocked everything, and it took me so long to find them. I don't know why, but it did. Cool. So the Shi clan has slave trade. I knew this from the episode. It's their main form of business. Cool. Empress Regnant. I'm probably just going to end up saying Regent, but this is also I fact checked this as well because I read that multiple times, and I'm like, apparently that's the word for a woman in that role, I believe. So she doesn't like slave trading and wants it to stop. Now cast your mind back, because Archie was the one that stopped the slaves from what my understanding was based on her episodes towards the end of the first core here in this season. No, what you don't like is slave trading. You're still okay about slaves. Slave trading is the problem, and that's the Shi clan's main form of business, and for some reason you want that to stop. Cool. Then Shenmei, as kind of a bargaining chip, as a, political prisoner almost, we're going to keep her in the rear palace, kind of sell it to her as being a consort. So again, she's very prideful. She wants for power. She thinks that she could eventually be the Empress Dowager. She thinks that she could be in the ultimate position of power in this joint if she goes through with this and kind of succeeds. But that's not the case. She's actually in reality a prisoner, kind of to keep the Shi clan granddad guy in check. Essentially, they're not going to do any funny business if we have one of theirs near us. Because what if she just mysteriously goes missing or something? Then obviously that's bad. It's essentially like blackmail. They're being coerced. And again, Shenmei's kind of stupid and doesn't realize this. Anyway, she didn't see the whole pedophilic emperor thing coming either, so she might have thought that she genuinely had a shot, and then, lo and behold, she's just kind of got scammed. I don't know. And again, then there's that tragic scene where it's like, hey, Shisho's there, run away with me, but she's too far in. She's almost made that entire thing. She's sunk cost fallacying it, I feel. Like, she could just leave right there and be off on her merry way, but her values are now so integrally tied to this place and achieving this goal, and she's very focused in that, and Shisho's not that. She calls him like lower down on the rung. She uses a specific turn of phrase there. She doesn't think Shisho's all that, basically. In that way, you could almost read Shisho's actions this entire time as kind of pathetic, until he obviously turns around and starts to plot against Shenmei, which we'll get to down in this paragraph. Anyway, Shi clan granddad dies. He can't do anything about the whole Shenmei situation. Cool. He's now dead. Shisho becomes leader of this, what we clan? I don't know what you'd call them. Or at least after the dad gets ill. It's timing there's weird. So Shisho then knows this, right? He gives his life and loyalty over to the rear palace. That's why he's associated with the Empress Dowager. That's why he's the late Emperor's right-hand man. That's why all that stuff's kind of happening. That's why he's got this prominent role. He's basically committed his life to doing this. Specifically, again, he calls for the expansion of the rear palace, right? Specifically garnering the trust of the Empress Mother there, getting her trust and all of that, and thinking, hey, if we bring more people in here, there's more chance that your son will actually find a suitable person. And anyway, all that side of it, her actual motivation. I can satisfy their motivations, I can satisfy ours by opening up the rear palace. We find a way for more slaves to go somewhere a bit safer. Okay, cool. We need to find a place for our slaves to go if slave trade doesn't happen, right? They can either go foreign, where it gets dicey, or they can go to the rear palace where they'll be a bit safer and they'll essentially be slaves in all but name, right? That's why, we expand the rear palace and have a whole lot more ladies in waiting and a whole lot more eunuchs and that kind of thing. Again, this garners favor from the late emperor and mother, Shisho being useful and loyal, as well as taking the late emperor's illegitimate daughter as his wife, as we learned last episode, allowed Shisho to free Shenmei. Now again, there's a couple of disconnects with Shenmei that I'm still really not thinking it doesn't fit for me quite yet. Shenmei, for some reason, does not listen to reason and understand the reason why all of this had to happen. She either hasn't been told or has been told and does not care. Either way, she's dumb, she's prideful, and now she starts scheming revenge. But here's the problem. She's also bad at scheming revenge. So she's got all these kind of toxic people. She's moving pieces around a little bit. But during that time, the entire time, Shisho and Lao Lan's plan is happening, where again, Shisho has a change of heart here at some point and decides that we need to get rid of Shenmei. Lao Lan doesn't like her basically from the jump because she's a terrible mother. Their idea is to enact a plan that is obvious, that can be figured out, that then the royal guard is brought over and we're all going to die, and Shenmei's going to get taken out too, and all the toxic people that are left, all the kind of sludge that didn't run away, that didn't get ousted out, we're going to do that, take ourselves out, try to save all the innocent people and kill all the bad guys. That's their plan. They're playing the villain to get rid of the actual bad guys, to get rid of these toxic people out of their lives, to save their loved ones, blah, 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 blah. Shisho, from this perspective, is kind of freeing himself in a way. He's kind of been cursed with his attachment to Shenmei. It's kind of a freeing scene when he finally kisses the sweet release of death as opposed to having to look at Shenmei anymore. Again, all of this is quite convoluted. That's where the embezzlement comes in, taking funds, real powers, blah, blah, blah. It's all to get back at Shenmei, right? Episode 23 encompasses a scene whereby Shenmei, the whole world is crashing in around her. She basically finds out a bunch of stuff where reality isn't what she thought it was, and then almost in a poetic way every single time, still the whole thing with Sudre being important, her not knowing that, she's I didn't know that, and I'm but you did know that, you referenced that in the dialogue in the previous episode. Again, still very confusing to me. Again, my disconnect is thinking that Shenmei already knew a lot of these things and was the major mastermind. She wasn't the mastermind. She kind of didn't know anything. She had a little bit of a role. She definitely wanted revenge, but mostly she was content to sit in a fucking room and smoke and drink and fuck and stuff. That was kind of her vibe. Even she seemed kind of surprised when the royal guard was there. I don't think she's even on that level of the plan. You know what I mean? Just very weird. I thought that she was a schemer. I thought that she was smart. No, she truly just was a dumb bitch to the end. And she got what she deserved. And again, it's frustrating, because all this, you may have caught in the tone of that whole rant that I just went on, I don't think that's particularly positive. I think that's pretty bad. But that's mainly all the bad stuff in the episode. The rest of it's really good. I like the stuff with the scar on the face for Jinshi. I think that's super significant. Again, spinning off in episode 24. Then the you look manly with that scar, that's kind of it's a great bringing together of all the Jinshi theming this season. I really enjoy that. The dance scene's great. I'll talk about that in some depth. The Sure-Shisui relationship stuff is cool too. The kind of fun, legally binding contract that Shisui comes up with, that Lao Lang comes up with, where it's hey, people that have died already, you can't kill them again. So that saves, obviously, Sure, but also saves the kids later on. That stuff's really fun. It's all clicking together quite well. It's just when you get into the nuts and bolts of the information, the kind of basis for everything, without all the stuff on top of it, which I think is quite cool, I just think it falls apart a little bit. It just isn't demonstrated particularly well, in my opinion. And then again, I think most of the conversation here is going to be around episode 23. There's a few fun epilogue-y things in 24, but mostly it's Jinshi Mau stuff, which I'm 50-50 on at the moment anyway. I think Jinshi could stand to use his words and not just touch people all the time. It makes me kind of uncomfortable. But anyway, we're going to go back through the episode now. I'm going to talk about those scenes I talked about before, and maybe a lot of this stuff as well will come a little bit more into view, a little bit clearer. But yeah, as it stands, I think they're kind of stumbling at this point, and I don't know if it's the adaptation, I don't know if it's the source material. I feel like we stumbled a little bit here at the last hurdle. There was one other interesting thing about this episode, much like a few weeks ago now, there was an episode basically entirely without Mau Mau. this is another episode basically entirely without Mao Mao. The show's called The Apothecary Diaries. It's a bit of a unique thing when we just kind of abandon that character. I don't know, it kind of made it stand out as an episode in my mind as well. I think this scene here is a microcosm of, what the entire plan is for Shisho and Lao Lan. First we see Basen and Jinchi come in and we find this guy, and again, we're like, you must know what you were doing. No, we don't. We were told it was just for the nation. We know nothing. We're innocent. And again, he's telling the truth, but this isn't how these things work. We said that explicitly in the dialogue a couple weeks back, right? When these kind of things happen, it's not just the soldiers, it's the women, it's the children too. It's everybody under the people making these large decisions, right? Enter Shisho, right? Holding a gun, performing almost, entering stage left, as we could see here, playing the role of the crazed mastermind, right? All in the service of helping as many innocent people, like the person there before, survive this thing. That's the idea. Without all the extra bullshit on top of it, that is the major thing that they are trying to do. Shisho and Lao Lan, that is their plan. That is the aim. Shisho walks out, playing the role, as I said once again. Jinchi blocks the bullet, which was heading towards one of the royal guard here. I think Jinchi reflects the bullet and it hits this kind of guy in the leg. I don't know, at least it didn't die. I'm happy I picked it up. I wonder what the tell is there in the episode, because I picked it up pretty quickly, where Shisho, it just doesn't seem legitimate. It doesn't seem like something he would do, the spotlight coming down was when it all came together, obviously, but early on I'm like, this is a performance. And again, this scene mirrors the scene later on, the dance in the snow. It's all to make me seem like the crazy, evil mastermind kind of person and, fall on my sword for my people, blah, 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 take responsibility for my actions, blah, 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 blah. That whole side of it. As I said before, as he gets stabbed here many times, he thinks back to Shenmei. She looks quite pretty here. And again, I feel like this is almost like the curse is broken. I'm finally, away from my infatuation with her. The sweet release of death has brought me away from this. I can finally move on to whatever's next. My goal's honorable. Maybe I'll see her in the next life. That whole vibe to it. But also, I don't need to worry about it anymore. It's just kind of like relief. As we see the visage there fade away in his teardrop. And then, he's loving it. He's loving life. With the spotlight there as well, making it all the more obvious that this is performance. Again, it's really obvious when we see it pointed out like this too. Again, we're innocent. We didn't do anything. Blah, 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 blah. Shenmei, Lao Lan, they're in the room in the back. Go get them. Again, this is part of the plan. It's probably something that Lao Lan told them to say. Hey, we're innocent. Blame it all on those guys. Again, I'm trying to save my people, or as many of my people as possible, being a good leader. It's the idea here. Now, I think this is cute. Just screenshot that. That's a good image. Lao essentially grabs Jinchi here and, brings him into the back. And then we start Exposition City. One question. Jinchi's obviously royalty. How the fuck is he missing for 10 minutes and nobody checks on him? I don't know, another inconsistency, I guess you could say, but that's annoying. That's cinema sins tier. Get that shit out of here. An interesting part here as well is Lao Lan's kind of gamble on Jinchi. The situation, if Jinchi wasn't the man that she thought he was, he could have grabbed the gun and tried to kill Lao Lan here, right? But no, it shows that Jinchi is willing and able to hear them out, willing and able to hear their plan, all that other kind of stuff. You could have overpowered me and taken the gun. Obviously, the gun here has already been jammed. You could have killed yourself in that process, but you didn't. That's when my mother failed. Yeah, the significance there for sure. It's almost a test of Jinchi, this gun here as well. I do think it's interesting how Jinchi talks about Surei upon seeing her, right? So this is the Surei I heard about, the one that executed the plan, the one that tried to kill me. She seemed very conniving, very confident, all these things that we thought about her before. But again, in the face of her own mother, in the face of her abuser, she's not what I thought that she was. Important to note that Surei makes it out of here. Shenmei does not. She won't be around such a person anymore. Again, it feels like her flower was blooming early on. It feels like it's closed in a little bit more. Now she's blooming once again in the absence of her abuser. Again, she's going to be with fucking Arduo, which is strange, but sure, I'll take it. Again, this is almost seeing her at her lowest moment. It tells me that she's probably going to come back out of it and be a more confident and better person. Maybe even an asset, we'll see. I feel like we could have focused a little bit more on the aspect of Jinshi looking like the late emperor here, and again, like him almost being the symbol of everything that Shenmei wanted in the late emperor, right? During her time, during her grab for power, almost the symbol of her pride, and everything crumbling around her right in front of him. I feel like that could have been more of a focus, especially considering how much of Jinshi looking like him was the focus of the Shenlu stuff at the graveyard and all that kind of stuff. I felt like that could have came around a little bit stronger too. So Lao Lan's thing here is essentially like teasing the fuck out of Mom. One, it feels good because she's a bitch. But two, I have a gun, and if she grabs gun off me and tries to kill me, she'll kill herself in that process. There'll be a poetry to that. Tying it into that word of being so insignificant, tying it in her to her complex about pride, her own age. Yeah, there's a lot going into this. I like Shenmei's death in that regard. It's her folly as a character. I just wish she was a bit smarter and maybe a little bit more sympathetic. I don't know. She's just kind of lame by the end here. Which I guess is cathartic, considering how much of a piece of shit she is, but like, I don't know. Another note I really liked is Shenmei screaming here, and then we kind of cut to Sure briefly, who flinches upon hearing her scream. Again, it's a nice subtle one, but that is a telltale sign that you've been abused. I flinch at her like arcing up, because I just think it's always for me. Again, nice subtle one. I thought it was good. Now, see, a lot of this stuff here I've already gone over, so I won't retread old ground. One thing I would have done, even though it's only a small part, was recast this role. This sounds like an older woman. She's clearly, early 20s, if that, here. Just doesn't fit correctly. However, as we know, early 20s is already too old for our friend the late Emperor. And here at this moment, she's being swindled. She thinks that she's been called in as a consort. She could become the Empress Dowager. She could be chosen, all that other kind of stuff. But no, it's essentially a political play to keep your whole clan in check. Again, I already spoke about it, but the disconnect of her not being the one that's like running show, her being the one that is blindsided by all this information, that doesn't have even an extra piece of stuff that no other character knew, is crazy to me. Like, she was, in my mind, the big bad. And she's just not. She's just another fucking crony. And this whole plan itself, this whole reason why the Royal Guard's here, this whole reason why, the embezzlement, the investigation there within, all that kind of stuff, it was all to get to you. You were almost the victim in all of this, and we've like ensnared you. That's the disconnect, right? It's just completely not what I expected. And this is why okay. So I need to go back to that Archie stuff, but this is the one that's the disconnect, right? When Archie's like, I'm the one that stopped the slavery and stopped the eunuchs and all that kind of stuff, right? I was like, great, okay, that must mean that it was in place under the power of the previous Empress Mother, right? That must mean that. But no, the Empress Mother's the one that banned the slave trade while still having slaves. Remember the mute guy? That's the scene I'm talking about. Like, to me, that doesn't follow. For me, you would have one character that likes slaves and wants to keep them around and all that kind of stuff, and you would have another one coming in maybe later that abolishes it and sets up the new rules for the Rear Palace and all that kind of stuff. But no, that's not the entire story. Potentially, again, the Empress Regnant here is a little bit more sympathetic, but yeah, it's just a whole big mess. Why make it so convoluted? What's the point? I guess this stuff with Shisho and, again, pushing the expansion of the Rear Palace, pushing a place for these slaves to go that isn't as dangerous, that is a little bit better. The Rear Palace almost is a sanctuary in that regard. Shows his benevolence that is also coming through now in this plan with Lao Lan. Like, hey, I just kind of want to, I kind of want to protect my people and make sure that they're okay and not going through the worst of situations, completely the worst. He's always got an eye out for other people. He's always considering things. He's, but he also, his folly is that he's like way too obsessed with this crazy, stupid lady. Sure. Again, I keep seeing this word used for it as well, bombardment. So again, that's a big revelation, this kind of flashback here with the old Shisho, and then we quickly go from that, again, that's 30 seconds, and now we're over with Shisho sometime later, again, continuing to plead with Shenmei to run away and do all that kind of stuff. Again, this shows where his true allegiances lie, what his true goal in all of this is. But again, it's just, I was already reeling from the first part, and now there's this part, and blah, 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 blah. Language barrier obviously isn't helping as well. I have to read the information instead of hearing it. A lot can be said in tone of voice, a lot can be said in how somebody says something, which is kind of getting lost in translation somewhat, I feel. It's just all very quick. I do like the touch of him building the secret path that is then used later by Shisui, that is used by Sure. Like, again, it's almost like the family tunnel, you know, always trying to get certain people to escape, it being that same tunnel that Mao Mao kind of was stolen through. It's cool. It's very cool. So again, Shisho digs tunnel, unbeknownst to anybody, has escape route ready, comes to you. You've clearly been in the rear palace long enough to know that this shit ain't gonna work and to know what the late emperor's like. Again, he's got flowers in hand. He's come to your window. It's all run away with me. It's that perfect kind of romantic confession. And what does she do? She's still caught up on stupid bullshit that, you know, other people in the rear palace have been saying about her. She's caught up in the drama and the bitchiness of it all, rather than just seeing what's directly in front of her. You're dumb. You're proper dumb. Again, stepping back, being a little bit more charitable. She's clearly internalized the values of the place. She's clearly devoted to seeing this goal through, seeing... Status is so very important to her. And again, that's the motivator. That's the one thing holding her back. That's the thing that's causing this kind of like get away reaction at the very end. I don't know. I just want to see some amount of regret about it too. Maybe I should have done that back in the day. But no, it's more just like narrowing the eyes. How did you know about that? No. How... Because again, she didn't think that she was also a prisoner. You're proper dumb. You're dumb as. And then she's like, I knew I was right not to trust him because then he took this girl's mother as a wife. He betrayed me even in the end. He wasn't going to be loyal. And now this is the one that I actually want to go back and look at. I thought we implied with the line about no matter your status, you're still... It was in the previous session. Let me find it. Yeah, right here. So she gets bonked in the head, and then we lick the blood. It seems even the most noble blood is soiled when a drop of filth is introduced. Does that not imply that you already know? I feel like I'm going insane. That implies that you already know Sure's lineage, and that you don't care what Shisho had to do to get you out. And now it seems, okay, let me go back over. A phoenix hair stick. Yes, you know this too, mother? The only ones who can wear this symbol alongside the Kirin are those that carry imperial lineage. Lies, the late emperor never admitted it. But you believe that. You believed that in the previous scene. Am I stupid? Right? Lies. No, it's not lies. Okay, is it a mocking tone in the previous scene? Oh, you may have noble blood, but I don't believe those lies. I don't believe that. That's a conspiracy. But no, seeing the irrefutable evidence of the hairpin and all that kind of stuff. Is this anything? I feel dumb. I feel really dumb, and that's not a good feeling to have. So did Shenmei think Shisho was a moron who married a lady that claimed that she was the daughter of the late emperor, but actually wasn't, and that Shisho's actually just a cheating bastard? Or is she just so fucked up in the head from her time at the rear palace that she can't even see the truth? I'm gonna go out and say it. I think that she got off easy still. Somebody this dumb and evil should have been, like, giga tortured, instead of just, you know... She essentially got a bullet to the head and then just kind of died. Like, I don't know. I would have been way meaner. That's all I'm saying. Now, a part of this I did like is the naming of Shisui here, who is Sure, having the character of she in the name, and almost Sure taking the position of Shenmei, right? Okay, I've still got somebody of the Shi clan kind of in my grasps a little bit, you know, somebody still kind of around, You know, we've almost tied that knot. We don't even really need Shenmei anymore for the reason that we had Shenmei. Like, it's almost like you're taking her position without knowing it. Sure freed her own mother, which obviously isn't great for Sure, considering the whole mum murder abuse type angle, but I think there's a poetry to that. Without knowing it, she almost saved, Shenmei. And Shenmei doesn't know that. That's kind of cool. And then Jinshi's like, the late emperor was a moron. He had no idea what effect his selfish wishes would have on his own daughter and on Shisho. Yeah, his own daughter ended up dying, and then that daughter from Shisho and his own daughter ended up getting abused, and Shisho has been kind of on the leash ever since, and needed to again now enact this plan whereby we're too far gone. I need to kill everybody. I need to kill all the evil people. The late emperor, again, I don't know how he could have seen all this shit coming, but still, like, the kind of trickle-down effect of all of this is insane. So again, there's a few lines here too, which I'm still like, what's that about? So, do you even know why Jinshi's here? Does this imply that, again, Shenmei just didn't know the whole royal guard angle to this? That they were being uncovered, that the stronghold had been found out? Was she just too... We saw smoke on the horizon. How could you not know? And then, did you just not consider it at all? Because again, then you become de facto leader of the clan, right? You took control. Do you know what the clan members who suck up to you did at the palace? They took part in all manner of corruption, including the embezzlement. The sane ones who spoke up against it were ousted, and only the rot remained. Father took on the role of the traitor to destroy every rotten element of the Shi clan in one explosive catastrophe. That is what is happening now. Right? And I'm playing my part in this as well. I'm willing to go down with the ship. Again, we feel almost complicit in enabling Shenmei this entire time. At some point, we decided it was too far gone and it was time for her to go. That's the vibe, I think. And again, showing leadership, we're going down with the ship. It'd rather be us than everybody else. That's why there's been such this explicit focus on saving the people under us that aren't as, that are good people, right? Take responsibility for your clan, that whole idea. And I like this, again, in context with the rest of the season, right? There's been a whole... I would say it's one of the major themes of the season of festering resentment, of unsolved issues left untreated, just growing and growing into deeper, darker things, right? Even tie that into the medicine angle, right? If a disease is left untreated, it'll only get worse and worse and worse until it threatens somebody's life. The same thing's happening... Again, that's the whole reason why there's, all those kind of abortives and the assassination attempts in the Rear Palace and all that kind of stuff. It's because the late emperor didn't have the balls to do what we're doing now, to take responsibility and think about his actions and all that other kind of stuff. Nobody in power over there did that, and we're doing that. We're almost trying to right the wrongs of the past, that being Laolan and Shisho. And again, in the macro, fantastic. Love that. I think that's great. Really makes Laolan this super honorable character, I would say. But in the micro, just super confusing. Who knows what is a big problem in this show. It really, really is. Again, essentially, Shisho tried to get all the rot in the stronghold right now. He tried to get this situation that's happening right now to occur. And then he's the cool evil mastermind that kind of laughed in front of everybody and got stabbed and, again, was finally released and... Again, understood that his plan had also already come to fruition. And again, here we have Shenmei's final moments. You went behind my back, you tricked me, blah, 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 blah. It's like, I'm only doing what you taught me, right? This nation deserves to be destroyed. You didn't specify which nation. There's a smugness here. Because again, you've already got the plan in place. You've got the favor. You've got it already set up to backfire. You surrounded yourself with smooth-talking idiots. Did you really think that you could defeat the Royal Guard that way? You can't handle that thing. Please give it back. Again, an attack on status, an attack on authority. What's so funny? Oh, mother. You are so insignificant. This being the moment where she pulls the trigger, that being attached to Shenmei's entire complex as a character. Again, really strong. To the very end, she couldn't escape her own insecurities about being insignificant and, again, her want for power, her pride, and it led to her downfall directly. And you planned it the entire time. Again, it's a microcosm of what's happening in the macro with the entire plan. And now, I don't think this was part of the plan of Shisho's, right? Were I true to my father's intentions, I would never have done this. But I wanted to get my personal revenge as well on you because you're a shit mom and Shisho's dead, so who cares anyway? So, I don't know, I did the whole backfiring gun idea. Again, still that judgment here and now. You're still not shedding a tear for Shisho. You never did. If you did shed a tear for him, potentially I would have spared you. Potentially I would have thrown the gun away, all that other kind of stuff. But no, even now you show no remorse for the man that devoted his life to you. That you know... did basically everything to get you free, and then you just went crazy and were still so obsessive and all that kind of stuff. Like, again, it's sweet. It's really, really sweet. I like it. It's like sweet revenge, you know. From here, we get on to the Lao Lan and her requests, I guess you would say. So first, hey, anybody that's sane of mind is ousted. They're going to lose their name, but they're going to survive. We're going to, Shi clan destroyed. That's all well and good, but make sure that people live. That's one part of it, right? This goes for my sister over here. Anybody that's died and has come back to life, I'll try my best to do that kind of stuff. But really cool. Again, that's the idea, being selfless, saving the people under you. Now, this is probably the one piece of charity that Lao Lan is going to do for her mother, right? We grab one of these little fingernail dealies, and Jinchi allows his face to be scarred. Very, very cool. So, two things. One, making this scar essentially seals Lao Lan's fate. She's scarred the face of, the Emperor's brother, very important guy, because you've hurt him, because you took fire at him, all this other kind of stuff. We now need to retaliate. It basically seals your fate. We can't do anything now, right? It's also a big deal. He's meant to be like the pretty boy. We've scarred his face, all that other kind of stuff. And two, it's almost like it's simultaneously pity and also almost making fun of her mother, of Shenmei, right? You schemed so very hard to do something like this, and look at me walk up and do it so very easily. He even allowed me to do it. Again, the Jinchi's face being similar to that of the late Emperor. You wanted to enact your revenge. This is me doing it so effortlessly. As you're dying, as you're laying there dying, look at me do this thing. It's the one piece of charity I'll give you, but it's also a fuck you, Your life's work, just like that. And then the dance. I wonder if I can be a better actor than my father. I guess I'll talk about it now. And again, I'm basically stealing this from an article. I should put the person that wrote the article up here. I think it was a review, actually. But anyway, let's think about the other times that we've kind of danced in the moonlight in the show. Well, first would be the first time in the show, right? I guess you could say it's symbolically freedom. And I needed to look it up. Fuyo was her name, right? Her dancing on the wall then was this kind of signal. It was also her own mania. It was a lot of stuff there, right? It was, I'm kind of crazy, but it's also like freeing, and I'm putting into place ways that I can get out of the rear palace and, freedom, escaping, the confines that we're in right now, pairing that with leaving this room, leaving the stronghold, leaving life, leaving my family name, leaving the dull kind of construction of Lao Lan that is kind of built around me. I'm leaving all of that stuff behind. I'm attaining my own freedom in the same way that Fuyo did, right? Now, attach that into Mao Mao at the end of Season 1, Dancing in the Moonlight, right? That attaches itself to Mei Mei. It attaches itself to kind of like, the brothel culture, so to say, right? It's meant to be like alluring. Like, think about why she knows how to dance like this. And then attaching that into her time in the rear palace. We've kind of mirrored the rear palace and brothels very often. Again, it's trying to allure. It's trying to sell something almost, right? It's trying to sell the idea of me as this mastermind, as me as the person pulling all the strings. Again, very theatrical, like a classic villain, like a, like a mustache-twirling villain, But here's the last one, and this was the one I really liked. Jinchi dancing in the moonlight earlier this season. That is deception. And that is also what she's doing here. She's deceiving everybody. This isn't real. This isn't the real Lao Lan. We just saw the real Lao Lan and her plan and her actual motivations in this room. Before she walks out from backstage, she goes onto the stage herself, and she performs. And again, Basen comes in. It's, we see the scar on the face. I know what we have to do. And then, yeah, we shoot her, she falls, deceived. We now have the mastermind gone, and I've taken the blame essentially away from people like my sister. It's a grand sacrifice that is also a deception. So again, freedom, alluring, deception, all these themings of the dancing scenes that we've seen in the previous times in the show, all coming back. It's just brilliant. Really, really, really solidly written. I saw the other criticism that a few people were a little bit weirded out by the timing of it all. It's strange that there's a real tension to, Basen coming, and it's essentially we're storming the stronghold, and this time still for a 2-minute dance sequence for you to come out here. For that, I would say suspend your disbelief. It's fiction. It's anime. It's not meant to be a historic account of how events would have happened or whatever, right? It's meant to be a little bit flowery. That's kind of the point. Now, the insert song itself, a little bit down on it. I wouldn't have used an insert song, especially with that kind of instrumentation. Again, potentially, if I knew the lyrics, if I could understand the lyrics, it would hit a little bit harder, but yeah, a little bit on the cheesier side. Animation's obviously there. Again, clearly they were saving budget for this scene. They've done that quite a bit. I think it works. Oh, the other element of it I really like as well. Finally, she stops the Lao Lan. It's like the Shisui we know is coming through as well. She can almost drop this entire facade, smiling, laughing, dancing. We finally see the her underneath it all. It's this great moment of release after this large plan that I've had in place for so long to get back at my mother. It finally completed it. This is the good stuff. This is the good part. All this fucking other bullshit, just simple it up a little bit, and I think this hits a lot harder too. Animation is exceptional, though, it really is. Yeah, and Jinshi's like, I could have stopped them, but nah, nobody could stop her. Look at her go, she's shining, right? A once-in-a-generation evil, the mastermind. The expansion on what we thought about Shisho from before, like, it's, yeah, really, really good. Like, the Scar 2 to seal my fate, like, there's no way I can almost convince them that after she's done this, that she could be freed. And again, Sudai understands this too, which kind of informs her reaction. Now, and here's the thing, right? This bullet, what did that hit, do you reckon? Because she lives. This is... Hot tip, everybody. This is where some internal organs, some pretty important ones, live. If you hit there with a bullet, generally you die. I think this bullet has bounced off something that was placed pretty conveniently in that part of her clothes, which was the hairpin. I think that's the idea here. That's really cute. And again, this was the other one. Like, again, obviously it's very painful. We see the grimace there, but then into the smile. If VLC wants to behave, thank you. This is, again, Shisui coming through, the Lao Lan disguise. Very cool. And again, Sure unable to catch her, falling down to the ground. That was the last we ever saw of Lao Lan. This is weird. It's almost like you're speaking after all this has happened as the narrator. Interesting. Again, I'm imagining we don't see her again. That's kind of the fitting end to her story. How do I feel about all this build-up as well, only to find her alive next episode? A little bit conflicted, but whatever, it's fine. It still accomplishes the same idea if she still lives and doesn't interact with anybody again. Or again, maybe Dark Knight Rises style, like, again, Mao Mao later on is on a little holiday, and they just see each other, and there's a nod, and then they go their separate ways. Something like that, maybe. I don't know. I would imagine that she doesn't impact the plot again. Or maybe again, that was the last I ever saw of Lao Lan. I saw Shisui again. That's another fun one, maybe. So again, after all that, it's hard to believe that there's still another episode left, but I would imagine we're going to skedaddle through that one, because it's a lot of flirting between Jinshi and Mao Mao. But yeah, there's Mao Mao. She's sleeping with the dead kids. Now, another question that I had is that Mao Mao didn't know the entire time. I thought that she put together the resurrection kind of potion idea 2 episodes ago when she was with Shisui in the room. I thought that she put that together then and there. No, the thing that she put together was that Shisui's not making it out of here. That's what she put together. Okay, all right, that's fine. So again, my responsibility, she thinks, is to just bury the kids, or at least not have them burned immediately. Yeah. But no, then she's obviously surprised when they start waking up. Also here, just objectively funny frame. It looks like he has, like, anal issues or something. That's what this... I don't know, it's just funny. I don't know, it's again, I've spoken about it before. It's funny that Lacan's just become, like a comedy character. He's just like funny. He's like breaking gates and shit. Also this part, okay, I would imagine that this here, she did get punched a few times, but I think that's that as well. I think that this is, no, it's like purple though. Did she get punched there or something? She must have, because I thought maybe it was like the gunpowder kind of, looked like a bruise or something. Now, Jinchi here is worried that this is a hickey. Now, that's the one I didn't understand, and then we spin that off into cute Mao Mao Jinchi stuff here next episode. Oh yeah, little post-credit scene here, right? So this guy's... I don't know who this guy is. Who are you? I'm imagining that you're... It's not just some jogger that walked by. He must be involved in one of the factions. I would imagine... maybe... based on the cape, he's Royal Guard adjacent, and then just decided to free her regardless? Because again, we see a shine down underneath. She would have fallen into the bush here, and instead of letting her just, killing her there, we somehow help her escape. I don't really understand the mechanics, but whatever. Lao Lan's alive. Shisui's alive. That's good. Is it time to sit down and have a serious conversation if this is working for anybody? Because it's not working for me, but I mean, I'm kind of not the target demo, I guess. It's more... this side of it, again, I would imagine is aimed a little bit more at women. They look at Jinchi. Jinchi's hot. Jinchi's all over me. He's giving me smooches and stuff. See, that's not my vibe. I'm trying to gender reverse it and see if that would be my vibe on the other side. I guess, yeah. But, I don't know. I haven't really done much genuine romance stuff on the channel, but not like this generally. That's not my thing. I know he gets a bit handsy. He's a bit touchy-feely. Doesn't really take no for an answer. I'm guessing the Mao Mao not super being into it, part of it too. I don't know. I don't know. Again, your mileage may vary. We'll use that one. Like, whenever Mao Mao gets close to him or any of this kind of stuff, it's always with a medical pretense. Which, again, I know it's on purpose, because that's the only way that she can get close to anybody, because she feels like she's almost broken. She can't do the whole affection thing. Yeah. My sense of self is only as my purpose as an apothecary instead of as, a lover, as a person, as a woman almost. Yeah, sure. I guess you could say that. Now, the part of this I really like in this episode is Mao Mao reflecting on her relationship between her two friends, right? Between her and Shisui and her and Xiaolan. That stuff will come later. And deciding that stuff actually is pretty important to her, that she was having a good time, that they were my friends, and I am going to miss them. Like, again, this doesn't seem like big steps for any other person, but for Mao Mao, most certainly is, right? Again, those scenes a couple of episodes ago trying desperately to save her, only for, she's already picked her path. She's going to do it this way. And again, lamenting that I'm never going to see my friend again. Same with Xiaolan later on. She's picked her own path. I've been gone too long. She moved on. She's never going to be seen again. I think she'll be seen again. But anyway, yeah, that sucks for her. And she's just kind of still stuck out in the, out in the brothel, out at Vertiger's house, being an apothecary. It must have felt like we had a little bit more going on than that there was going to be something greater going on there, and the kind of lack of anything else, that kind of cutting off of the friendship, really hits her heart. And again, as a character that has struggled to show emotion in the past, showing a little bit of emotion, not seeing the eyes here, and even shedding a tear later on, yeah, it's hitting hard. I like that stuff. But I mean, again, kind of tonal whiplash in the scene. We kind of come away from, Mao Mao musing that she never really knew Lao Lan. I didn't either. I'm going to miss my friend. She actually sacrificed herself. I need to commit to my end of the bargain here with the dead kids. To flirting again. I don't know, just mind the TPO, guys, something like that. Time and place, that kind of thing. Like, get a fucking room, seriously. There's a bunch of dead kids in here. Again, we're focusing in a little bit more on this bruise. I was assaulted by a woman, it wasn't by a man. This isn't what you think it is. Why is he concerned about my chastity all the time? Mao Mao put two and two together. He likes you. Yeah, again, him kind of sucking on the neck later on. I don't know what he does. It's weird. Is kind of, again, in in response to this, I guess. I did like this moment. Am I the kind of man who would lose his value from just a scar? They kind of spin off talking about her wound there to his wound there. Hey, do I lose my value without my beauty? And then it's like, no, it enhances it, right? It gives you a little bit more character, makes you almost seem manly, which has been his whole complex as well. Yeah, I have value beyond my looks, and her seeing that is important. I don't know, again, it's very shoujo, but it's cool still. You could see the scars on Jinchi's face almost the same way that Mao Mao uses her freckles. Like, hey, this could now be something that almost nullifies your weapon, right? That kind of dulls it a little bit, the same way that the freckles dull mine. Maybe a few more things like that would be useful. Maybe a few more things that make you just ordinary would be good, right? Cute. Again, I like attaching it into the freckle idea. Yeah, but then after she calls him manly, he gets all horny and stuff, and then I kind of just turn off. I don't know. Mao Mao was about to get smooched, but then the kids started reviving, so, that's pretty good. Now, I wonder if this reveal here is hitting for anybody, that they didn't just figure it out already. I don't know. I felt like it was pretty obvious. I don't know. Again, maybe certain people aren't rewatching episodes the same way I am. Not saying that I'm perfect at it, but by any means, if anything, this video has been evidence of that, but yeah, at least I got this part of it. I don't know, kind of day-breaking, Sure finding out that the kids lived, finding out that part of the plan, finding out what Shisui had done. That's hitting kind of good. I don't know. Her plan worked. I didn't understand that portion of it. Sure. I like it paired with the sunrise. I think that's neat. Again, it kind of leaves us with half an episode of epilogue here at the very end, which I think is so-so. I would have liked a few more links into future stuff. I would have liked a few more things just cooking away in the background, but we don't really have that. If I was to guess how this next season goes, I could not based off this episode. I kind of have nothing, which is both good and bad, I guess. More of a focus on these three would be nice. They kind of were missing. I like my girls. I like my Verdigris house girls. I wanted to see them some more. We use them as exposition here. Concubine Gyokyo, who Mao Mao served, is going to become the Empress. So that's pretty neat. I don't know. She won, I guess. It's the kind of boy heir, right? That's the idea, I think. 2 children now. Pretty strong link there. Again, that scene with Anshi, the Empress Dowager, with Gyokyo early in the season is now hitting pretty strongly too. That's a cool development. Nothing bad happened to you. I'm pretty happy about that. You live to see another day, and looking dignified as always is Gyokyo. Definitely one of my favorite characters. Really like her. Interestingly enough, Luhrmann's staying in the Rear Palace. They're going to keep him here rather than return him to the Pleasure District. However, Mao Mao is going to be in the Pleasure District almost in his place. They've swapped. How come they can never just hang out? They're never in each other's company. Yeah, this was the line of dialogue I missed, right? Jinchi's been busy, but because, Gyokyo's moved on, and Jinshi's busy, I have no place in the Rear Palace, right? That said, I'm here in the, Pleasure District, busier than ever. I guess this is our jumping off point for the new stuff. Also, Kyo's here. He's here. His name is now Gyo, because something with these memories is weird. Now, again, in line with Shisui's request and Jinshi's word, these kids were allowed to move on, change their names, have new lives. They got adopted by former high-ranking concubine Arjuo, along with Sure herself. Very, very cool. It's kind of a natural fit. I kind of really like Sure and Arjuo as that's a cool new dynamic. It's a cool person to learn off of, I would say. Yeah. Again, another one of my favorite characters for sure. She's been sorely missed from the show. Again, based on Shisui's request, and also the fact that she has the blood of the late emperor. She's pretty important. She's allowed to live, basically. So, hey, again, Shisui did her goal. The people that she wanted to live, the innocent ones in all of this, have. Great. I don't know if a brothel is the best place for this kid to be hanging around, but he sure is. I don't know. That won't fuck him up at all. He'll be normal for sure. I don't know. Whatever you say, man. Sekyu's here. She's also just exposition. Albeit it's nice seeing her again. Her scenes with Xiaolan, Mao Mao, Shisui in the baths is her connection here to Xiaolan, whereby we give the information that Xiaolan's kind of moved on. Yeah, I mean, we kind of just forgot about her and all this. We didn't really get to say goodbye. and she's just kind of moved on, I would imagine that we see her again. But it's sad in the moment. That's my friend. I'm not going to see her again. Shisui's dead. Well, dead, you know. I'm not going to see her again. Our little trio, the trio that's been much of the focus this season, split. The fellowship is broken. Again, sad. I'm sad about it. I liked those characters. I do like a good old teary letter as an idea as well. Myriad examples of which. It's a good tearjerker. I could see somebody seeing this and be quite emotional about it. I was almost there. Just, again, I was too confused by the previous stuff, if I'm honest. The extra kind of elevating element here, of course, is the whole Xiaolan writing and learning how to read and write arc to all of this. Her being able to write a letter to a friend and say goodbye is only possible through her own determination and through Mao Mao's efforts pushing her to do so, right? It's fun that that's come around here at the very end, I would say. It enhances it a lot, knowing how much difficulty she would have had in writing such a letter, in all the classes that she attended, and again, all the effort there. It feels good. Specifically the part where she's like, I want to see Shisui again, and we want to go and eat ice cream. I don't know, that ties it back to the episode itself, and also the tragedy of you'll never know what happened to Shisui. You won't be able to know, you're not privy to the knowledge, you're not important enough to know. Therefore, you're never going to see her again. And you don't know that. There's a tragedy there. Aww. It's like a missing person. And of course, very important for Mao Mao, probably the first time we've even seen her get remotely close to crying in the shit, I would say. Even when all the stuff was happening around her birth mother and Lacan and all that kind of stuff, it was pretty emotionally charged. Yeah, she still didn't cry. So, yeah, it must have been pretty important, you know? This is cute. So Mao Mao starts talking about Shisui and how they could never find a corpse. I hope they never find her, is basically implying that there will be a chance that she will be alive somewhere else. I hope that they never find her because she's not a corpse, because she's still alive. I hope there's never a confirmation that she actually is dead. Which, again, I mean, that comes to fruition at the end of the episode. Spoilers, I guess, but sure. I don't know, and then Jinchi's here, and they do the whole flirting thing again. And of course, Jinchi's a little bit peeved. Mao Mao's too busy thinking about forestry and paper and land split up and her own work to be enamored with seeing him again. It's not the response that he wanted. He's like a pouting little kid about it. I don't think it's interesting with the whole hair stick thing. We gave it to Lao Lan and told her to return it to me someday. It's basically like, hey, you will survive this. You will see me again. Blah, 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 blah. But Lao Lan, or Shisui, or whatever her name is now, she sells it at the very end. She wants to almost wipe her hands clean of it all, right? They will find the hair stick eventually in some shop somewhere. And I guess that'll be confirmation that she is alive. That you know, they couldn't find the corpse and the hair stick got sold. So that would imply that she's alive somewhere. And that could almost be enough without seeing her again. I guess that still kind of works, but I would have liked, again, the returning of the hair stick in person, even if, again, they just didn't see each other again after that. Also, like the whole thing of, you know, return the hair stick to me, blah, 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 I'll tell you something important. The something important has already been revealed. That is that I'm royalty, that I'm important, that there's been a secret there the entire time. Very cool. The other part of it, Junshi still cannot say at this juncture, even if he tries to show it with his actions, and that is that I care for you romantically. Yeah, him getting kind of, you know, worked up about it, a little bit of a sweat droop forming. Kind of cute. Like, again, I'd have to imagine this whole thing is the reflection of the thing that was on the neck before. I think that's the idea there, I think. Either way, she doesn't really seem into it. I'm kind of at work, dude. Come on. I don't know, then they're about to kiss, and then they get interrupted by the kid. I do like the line of Mao Mao, instead of focusing on the beautiful man, focusing on the one scar. That's significant. Think about it. What does the scar represent? Very cool. Mao Mao likes a man with some scars. And then, I don't know, the stupid kid's here. Gyo, or whatever his name is, and Jinchi's on all fours. I don't know, that's where we kind of leave it. I don't even really want to talk about this scene in much detail. I did find it kind of annoying that we never saw her eyes to the very end, and then they think it's going to be like a big reveal when we do see the eyes. I'm like, I know who that is. Come on. I've seen things before. I know what's going on here. Once again, I think I've spoken about already how I feel about it. Again, if she's divorced from the narrative, if we don't see her again, then I guess that's the same as her dying. It's nice that she's survived. It's nice that she's going to live a long and prosperous life, that she's cut her ties from the Shi clan, that she enacted her plan and still lived to tell the tale. Mao Mao almost did that with the placing of the hairpin too, which reflected the bullet, blah, 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 blah. Pretty cool. Again, I could imagine a few people being miffed about that, thinking how effective the whole dance sequence is and thinking that this maybe undermines it. But I choose to be a little bit more positive than that, I guess. Also, the bug kind of element too. Selling the hairpin, selling the thing of status, selling the thing that ties me to the rear palace, and embracing more of the bug side, embracing my passion. That's cool too. I'm going to move on. I'm wiping my hands of the whole affair, you know what I mean? And yeah, from there we'll kind of end it. And for right now, it's hard to put into words how I feel about the season in the macro. Maybe, again, when I edit this, I might come around and place something here. So yeah, I'm back here after the fact. Still don't have that much to say about it. I think the season probably peaked with a lot of the Anchi stuff and a lot of the initial reveals, maybe around the Shisui Sure stuff. I thought that stuff was pretty cool until it got a little bit too convoluted in my view. Production was up and down, but as was season 1, it was kind of like more of season 1 in that way, in my opinion. The story itself was pretty kind of self-contained and kind of went into a lot of, it was kind of about the same thing constantly. There wasn't really like this clear delineation like there is in season 1, I would say. Of course, after this, I'm still keen to see more. It's just a matter of what more is. I don't really know what that is here at this point. Also, the show is not over, so we don't need to do conclusory thoughts about the very end of everything either. It's just kind of, this is our stopgap, and I'm relatively satisfied with it, I would say. Best episode without a doubt, though, and the one that I, again, keep going back to every second video, is all the Anchi stuff. Fascinated there. Fascinated. What a great character. What a great flashback through that episode too. Holy shit. So good. But as it stands right now, the ending of the season was a little bit so-so, but I think it's still pretty good television. I enjoyed my time here. Once again, I feel like it succeeds a lot in the macro, even if not always in the micro. Once we get into the weeds, the details, who knows what at what time, the motivations at certain timeline, I feel like the show falls apart a little bit, but I like the big picture ideas going on, I would say. Would I recommend Season 2 of the Apothecary Diaries? I think I would. I think I would for sure, especially if you enjoyed Season 1. It's very, very similar. And with that said, I think we're onto something new. There will be a poll video out shortly. Again, if you're a patron, but it should have already been out if this is public. Again, you'll say. And whatever's next is next. You can... If this is public, you can click on the Patreon. There'll be a link there right now, and you can see whatever's next. Maybe it's cool. I don't know. Maybe it's something you're really interested in. We'll have to go and see. Either way, thank you for watching this far. I'll catch you next time. Please watch other stuff on the channel. I do all sorts of anime in the same level of detail as this one. So, yeah. Thank you very much. I'll catch you guys later. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching along with me. Very, very cool.